If you are new to Linux or want a better understanding of the Linux operating system, this video is for you. Hi, I am Tanmay. In this video, I will explain the basic structure of Linux and cover the most commonly used commands in a real scenario-based way, not as a top 10 or top 20 command list. This video fully focused how Linux OS get used in real organization. I will show how the Linux server are accessed and operated in real production environment using the commands that truly matters. So let's start. So first, Linux operating system comes in two types. One with graphical user interface and other is terminal only, means no GUI. In this video, I am using Ubuntu servers, which is terminal based operating system. Everything you will see will be done using the terminal only. I will log into the server remotely, and this is exactly how Linux is used in real organizational environment. So I will suggest create a practical environment. Watching videos alone will not help unless you practice practically. For that, you can watch my next video installing Ubuntu Server OS on VirtualBox or directly on your system. Video link you can check in the description. So let's come to the topic. First, we will understand how you log into the server remotely. To log in remotely to Linux server, we use SSH. SSH stands for Secure Shell. It is a Linux service that runs by default on port 22 and used to securely connect to a remote server. To connect using SSH, you need the server IP address, user ID, and either a password or SSH key. In this video, I will use password-based authentication. Once connected, you can fully operate the server from your local system. To log in remotely, open the terminal on macOS or command prompt or PowerShell on Windows. You can see this is a terminal of macOS. Here you have to type SSH space user ID space at IP address. In my case, the user ID is Tanmay. So SSH space Tanmay at my IP is 192.168.17. This is my IP address and it will prompt for the password. Now I will provide the password. Now you can see I have connected to my Linux OS server. So I have successfully logged in. So this is the way we connect to the server, means Linux operating system. Either it is any operating system which is based on Linux. Now I will explain about the directory structure. If you are Windows user, then you may know mainly Windows get installed on C drive of your hard disk or SSD. When we say Windows is installed on the C drive, it actually means that C drive is a partition name on your hard disk or SSD. In Windows, when you open the C drive, you can see the folders like program files, users or Windows folder and other system folders. These folders are present at root path of the partition where Windows is installed. But in Linux, there is no concept of drive names like C or D. So any specific partition on hard disk or SSD where the Linux is installed, at that root path, there are several important directories similar to Windows, and that root path represented by /. So that's why when you type cd/, then you come to the root directory where the important directory is present. And in Linux, you can also check the partition. For checking the partition, you can use lsb-lk. This command shows the partition details. So in my case, this is first SSD and the second is hard disk. This is represented as SDA and this is SDB. It is of 220 GB and it is around 2 TB. This partition is marked as /, and here my Linux is installed. So this is the way you can check the partition in Linux. Now comes to the topic. As I said, there is important directories at the root path. This is the root path. Out of this, the first directory, I will explain about the home directory. So you can see this is the home directory. And if you are confused which entries are files and which are directory, look at first character of the output. If it is D, it means directory, means folder. If it's starting from hyphen, it means it is a file. And if it is starting from L, it is a link. Link is similar to shortcut in Windows. Remember, we can create a shortcut on desktop or anywhere. Similarly, we can create link in Linux. Now we will go inside the home directory and I will do ls-lart. Since I logged in with the user ID Tanmay, you can see the directory named as Tanmay inside /home directory. Inside this directory, I can create files and folder. Basically, inside this Tanmay folder, I can create files and folders and run programs and use any software that is already installed. However, if a normal user tries to create files or directories outside their home directory, Linux will block it with a permission denied error. Linux is a multi-user operating system, so whenever a new user is created, a separate directory is automatically created for that user. So you can see there is one more user directory is created, test user. So currently I have two users, test user and Tanmay. Currently I have logged in as a Tanmay. So whatever the files and folders I can create inside Tanmay. If I will log in as a test user, then I can create files and folder inside this test user, not where any else. If you want to create any files outside of your home directory, you need admin privilege that I will discuss later. And one important thing to remember, whenever you log in, by default you place in the inside in home directory. If I exit and log in back with SSH command, I will provide the password. Now I will do pwd. You can see I am at my home directory. So like this, there are several other important directories. And if I go to cd/ at root path, and if I do ls-lart, there are several directories. One is etc directory, which contains system-wide configuration files. There is a varf directory, which contains logs, cache, or any data that changes frequently. Another one is user, that normally contains installed software application or binaries. Inside this directory, there is a bin directory which contains binaries required for basic system operation. So these are some important directories. If you wish, you can go in depth about these directories. Now let's see user type in Linux. So in Linux, there are three types of users. First is root user. Root user means full access. The root user can do anything in the system, can change operating system files, install or remove anything, and modify all configurations. Second is a normal user. Normal user has some limitations. They can work inside their home directory only. They cannot install software or make any system level changes. Third one is normal user with admin privilege. So whenever you install operating system, first user, whatever you create, it by default it comes with admin privilege. And in the Linux, whoever has the admin privilege, we can say directly that user as a sudo user. Sudo user means super user do. This is a full form, but normally we say that user who has admin privilege, we can say as a sudo user. Sudo user can do all those tasks that root user can do. So what this sudo access means? So suppose, as I said, we cannot create any files or folder outside of your home directory. As you can see, currently we are at root path, and if I try to create any folder here, you can see permission denied. But I know I am a sudo user. How you can check? You can just type groups. You can see I am at sudo group. So when I tried mkdir test, the permission denied came. So for all those commands which require admin privilege, just you have to write sudo before that command. So when I type sudo mkdir space test, then I run the command, it will ask a password. It is mine password, and if I give enter, that directory is created. Now you can see ls-lart, that directory is created. See, you can see the directory is created. So this is the meaning of sudo. If you see in the Windows, you get pop-up admin privilege required, something like that. You do yes or no, then it will proceed. Similarly, in Linux, we provide sudo command. Currently, I am logged in as a Tanmay, which has sudo access. Now I will exit and log in with test user, which is non-sudo user. Now you can see I have logged in with test user. If I do who am I, now you can see the test user came. And if I type groups, you can see I am not in the sudo group. If I do pwd, I am at home directory. If I try to navigate root directory and try to create directory at this path mkdir test2, it is asking for the password. Now you can see test user is not in the sudo files. So this user cannot do anything outside of their home directory. Yeah, there is one condition, we can provide the sudo privilege for this user also. Now I logged in back to the Tanmay user. Who am I? Tanmay. Now you got the idea of what is the meaning of sudo. And one more thing, if you want to see who all users are logged into the server, you can type who command. It will show the list of all those users which are connected to the server. So currently I am only the connected. If you type w command, only w command, it will show in more details. Now you might get the idea of Linux user types. First is root user who has full access. Second is normal user with limited access. They can do anything but inside their home directories. And third one is normal user with sudo access. Now you understand the basics of Linux system. I will move on to explaining the commands. Showing a live demo for every command would make this video unnecessarily long. So instead I will explain the commands and you can practice them. For a few important commands, I will still show a demo to help you understand better. Let's start with the first set of commands. These are very basic commands and you may already know most of them. So you can pause the video and review these commands. These are very basic commands you can understand by your own. Now, next set of commands are related to file-based scenarios. This command you can use when you are handling with files. Like touch, cat, these commands you can use regularly when you're handling with files. And most important, when editing a file, you need a text editor. Linux also provides a terminal-based text editor called VI editor. This editor provides all essential features similar to Windows Notepad. The only difference is that here everything is done using command. As you can see on the screen, I am at this path and there are no files and directories. With vi command, if I provide an existing file name, then it will open that file. Else it will create a new file, so I am giving a non-existing file. Now the vi editor is open. It's important to understand when you open the file in vi editor, there are two modes. First is normal mode, which is default mode. In this mode, you cannot type anything. In this mode, you can do find, copy, paste, etc. And the second mode is insert mode, where you actually write any content in the file. So at this moment, you cannot type anything because VI opens in normal mode by default. Now, if I want to start editing this file, for that you have to press I button, which will change the mode from normal to insert mode. Now I can type normally. As you can see, I am adding some content to the file. Once the editing is done, for saving the file, you have to come out of insert mode. For that, you have to press escape key, which will change the mode from insert to normal. And for saving the file, you have to type :WQ exclamation sign and then press enter. Now the file is saved and VI is closed. And you can see file is also created. I am using cat command to check the content. Here you can see file content also. Now suppose if you open the file in VI editor and you did some changes but do not want to save them. For that, you have to press escape key to come out from insert mode and then type :Q exclamation and then press enter. This will close the VI editor without saving any changes. If you see the content of the file with cat, there is no changes. I am explaining few more scenarios. Like you can see on the screen, I am opening the file again using VI. This file is now opened in VI editor. By default, it is normal mode. Now suppose file is very large and I want to search a specific word. Then type / and then type the word that you want to search and press enter. Now if I want to move to the next occurrence, you have to press button N. As you can see, I am typing N and it is going to the next occurrence. And if you want to go to the previous occurrence, then you have to type Shift N. So it's going to previous occurrence. And if you want to delete any line, then you have to just press 2 times D. See, the entire line is deleted. If you want to undo the changes, you have to type button U. It will undo the changes. Now see, the line came back again. To copy a line, you have to press 2 times Y. Place the cursor on that line that you want to copy and press 2 times Y. It will copy the line. For pasting, move to the place where you want to paste and then type P. See the line pasted here. So these are very basic scenarios. You can handle all other possible scenarios that a normal text editor do. Make sure you are doing all these operations from normal mode, not in insert mode. And always make sure you press escape key before running these commands. Similarly, there are many features in the VI editor you can explore for any other scenarios. Now next set of commands are related to search and file scenarios. You can take screenshot and use them practically when required. Grep command is very important, so you can explore grep command in more detail. Now next, these are package related commands required for update and installation on the server. And these commands are used when you want to start, stop, enable or disable any particular service. Now these are very frequent use command related to disk and storage. First, disk uses df-h and second is checking the size of a folder. If you type df-h, as you can see, you can check how much space available for your Linux OS. In my case, it is around 35 GB is available. And if you want to check the folder size, you can type du -sh and provide the folder name. This will show the size of the folder. Now these are system and process related commands like checking CPU uses, RAM uses or terminating any process. You can use these commands. And these are network related commands like wget you can use to download any file with URL, ping to check the connectivity, IPA to check the IP address assigned to your server. And last but not least, these are the permissions and user related commands. This video is already long, so I suggest explore the permission system in Linux. It is very important part of the Linux. I have shown some important commands which are regularly used. Now practice them, and here are 2 questions for you. Suppose there is a process running and you need to search and stop it. How will you do? And the second question is, suppose any application is running on any port but you are not aware. How will you find that port? Try that and let me know your answer in the comments. Hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching. So please share it with your techie friends and subscribe for such more content. Thanks again.